Guys, welcome to the Wing's first ever podcast, The Wing on Air. Tonight we've got a very special guest for episode 001. We have the wonderful Bradley Axe, professional boxer. So tonight we're going to be asking him some questions to find out who he is as a person and what motivates him to be such a successful athlete. Bradley, how you doing?
Yeah, really good, thanks, mate. Buzzing to be here for episode 001. After us talking about it for so many years, it's exciting to be here.
We have, mate. I want to start off with a question that's going to break the ice, okay?
Yeah.
I want to ask you what you would rather be attacked by, right? Would you rather be attacked by 10 badger-sized horses or one horse-sized badger?
Either one's going to be pretty rubbish, isn't it? Probably 10 badger-sized horses, because I reckon you could. One swift boot would get one of them away, and then you could deal with another one. Whereas one horse-sized badger is.
Badgers are vicious.
Yeah,
they are.
The
actually
horse-sized
vicious.
one is going to be pretty heavy.
And what's the attack on a horse? Like a little nibble, a kick?
Yeah, and if it's little, it might still give you a bit of a dig in the shin, but a horse-sized badger is going to mess you up.
That's a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
You're in a lot of trouble there.
10 badger-sized horses.
Good choice, bro. I would definitely pick the same. Anyway, I just thought that would break the ice a wee bit between us, bro, instead of going in with a serious question. Right, so first pro debut, how long ago was it?
It was about nearly 5 weeks ago now. And it's gone pretty fast time after. Do you know what I mean? A little bit of downtime, time with family, prioritising them for a bit. Rest, recuperation, just eating a bit of whatever I want as well, relaxing on that side of things. Still training, still ticking over, still getting some good sparring in, staying sharp. But yeah, it's been nice just to relax a little bit, you know.
How did you find the transition from amateurs to professional?
I feel like I've always been professional with what I do. Do you know what I mean? I've always been quite professional with staying fit all year round and being on it. But I think the transition came where I came back from Cyprus, a little bit overweight, where I'd sort of had to move house, move country, which is a big part of, as you're well aware. And then got back into my training, and I feel like with regards to transition from amateur boxing to professional boxing, it suits me a bit better. A little bit more slowed pace, get to think about what you're doing a little bit more. It did take a few months really to get used to that. Some spars that maybe didn't really go my way at times, but that's what it's all about learning. And I feel like now I'm here, sat here 1-0, and I'm excited to go 2-0 and be able to slow it down even more while I build the rounds up.
So see, in regards to the training, is the training much different?
Only, I think, because I've got a new coach now, and he's very, very, he's unbelievable. He's obviously a England Boxing Pathway coach as well as a professional boxing coach. So everything is like structured. Whereas before, as you're well aware from boxing yourself with me out in Cyprus, I sort of just ran it week to week. Oh, what do you fancy doing today? Okay, I can do sprints. What could I do later? I'll go boxing. What could I do tomorrow? I'm going to spar tomorrow. Whereas I have now started yesterday an 8-week training camp, and it's a thing called periodization. So to ensure that you peak at the right times, because when you just train, so say you do that for 6 weeks, in week 3 you might hit a peak of your fitness, and then you're not going to be able to maintain that for 3 weeks till your fight. So that will then slowly drop down, so you won't be at your peak for fight night. The structure is different. I've got a proper running training program as well. Instead of just getting out doing runs, doing 10 400 meters, I'm doing runs that are suited to my 3-minute efforts in a boxing ring, if that makes sense.
So that's the difference, is just
the difference is just the structure. The structure and the tempo of my. Obviously, I'm trying to now be fit for 6 3-minute rounds with a pace of bursts in those 3 minutes, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm feeling fitter than I ever have done, really. That last fight, everything went perfect down to a T with the training camp, and I'm sure this one will as well. So
I thought so, mate. I watched you. I came down and me and Naomi shot off after it, but you were phenomenal, bro.
Yeah, it
I
was a
was
class.
always, because obviously we boxed on the same shows. That's how we first met, wasn't it? What was it, 2017?
17 at Odeon,
2017 Odeon.
yeah.
That's when we first met each
Yeah,
other.
because we'd followed each other and stuff before.
We'd seen each other
that was
about.
the first time we proper met and obviously boxed on the
Yeah,
same show.
mate. I was starstruck, man.
Yeah.
On the same show as Brad, because you were the face of the rap boxing. Remember that? That was that cool as fuck photo from
well, it was all bleeding
blood
down the
in
side,
there, and you got because obviously that was like you were the Brad Axe RAF boxer. So I was like, oh man, the show with Brad.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
And then we boxed again, Bryce.
Yeah, that was in 2019 January. You won.
I was boxer that night.
Yeah,
I must have boxed better than you then.
You boxed two. Yeah, that's true. You boxed two, didn't you? That night?
The big Fajim box. Yeah, that was class. You fought the guy who knocked me out.
Yeah, who
at
injured
sparring.
you at sparring. Wasn't it? That was a couple weeks after that happened.
Yeah. It was to get the rap lads.
Yeah.
I got caught in the crossfire, bro.
He's a good kid, to be fair. He knocked out probably about 3 or 4 months before I fought him. He knocked out a lad from Yeovil.
Oh, really?
Clean in the first round.
Really?
So going into that, I knew that he would I knew he'd knocked a few lads out. But I just had to box and move. And then obviously he said that he had 0 fights when he sparred you, didn't he? Or
yeah, because his dad owned the gym.
Yeah,
that was bad, that, mate. Because I did 3 fights then. I was 3-0, so obviously I thought it was Billy Big Bollocks, mate. Still, coming into the gym,
coaches and that
was bad.
Should never have.
That was bad. Aye, because they literally, because they all dumbed it down. Oh, he's no boxed. And then obviously, I just fought. I actually think I fought maybe.
Wasn't it the Bryce show? Because it was literally about 4 days later.
It was.
Well, we boxed on the Thursday. That was the Monday.
Yes, it was, mate. 100%. Because I boxed them. No, you boxed them.
Sorry, I boxed him, but you boxed on that show on the Thursday.
And then went to Spa. Yeah, that was it, mate. And then that was it. Because it was only a couple of days later, and I was on the Wakey's training camp then. And I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just do it. That's what you're talking about before. The structure from the professional back to the amateur, you just kind of blag it, don't you?
That's it.
Like that coach should never have had me
at
an amateur level sparring after I'd fought.
Just fought. You should have had it maybe a week or so off.
Of course,
with amateurs, you've got to stay ready all the time because you could get a phone call. I've had phone calls before, literally 2 days before. Do you want to fight in 2 days? Yeah, okay. And it's staying ready, and you can peak yourself quickly, but with obviously professional game, you've got a longer period until that fight. You're not just going to get fights come up like that. Really, you can do sometimes, but it's important to have that camp. And I like having a plan.
Do you think it's important to stay ready now?
Ready-ish, yeah. So for me, as you know, I'm always relatively fit. Like I could go and do a 4-round fight this weekend if I had to. Granted, I wouldn't probably be my championship weight 72.5 kilograms, but I could probably get down to like 75 and box if I needed to. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like it's important to stay relatively sharp throughout, so that when I then jump back in, like this week, I was supposed to go sparring yesterday. The guy was injured or something, so he couldn't spar yesterday. But I'm then not getting my ass kicked the first week back in camp and feeling down. I can go have a good spar like I did last week. Went, had a good spar, and I'm buzzing for the start. And it's just such a mental game. And it's important to feel good and to start camp feeling good. Is like that last camp, realistically, I had a 7-week training camp where everything was planned, but it started when I come back from Cyprus because I had probably, I was about 83 kilograms, something like that. I mean, put a bit of weight on, not really trained at all.
Cyprus food.
Well, exactly. Because I boxed in July, knew I was leaving in September, so I just done whatever I wanted, really trained a little bit here or there, and then come back, moved house, obviously moved from Cyprus, then we were in temporary accommodation, moved into our own house, and it was just a bit hectic, mate. But once I got settled, got training, I was then getting beat up in my sparring. Obviously I was sparring pros that were fit and relatively ready to fight, but it was a big wake-up call, made me think, right, I'm not going to get this unfit or this fat again, should we say.
Yeah.
Obviously I was never really fat.
No,
but I was never going to put that much weight on. I was going to
close that window, bro. Sorry, because it keeps banging.
So.
Right, so obviously I've trained with you, mate. I know what you're like at training. and you've got a different mindset. Yeah, like you are a beast, mate. You're an animal. But I want to know what took you there. I want to go back and find out when this all started. I understand that you started boxing relatively late as a teen, yeah, in comparison to the rest of the boys
definitely.
who started. However, what happened even before then? I want to know, like, was there somebody in your childhood that inspired you to have this particular mindset, or do you think that the mindset was developed through boxing?
I think it was developed through boxing when I think about it. Yeah, like it's quite a deep question. I've never really thought of it that deep. Like, where does that actually come from? And to be honest, when I think about it, prior to boxing, I did a little bit of football, played a little bit of rugby at school, and we were good. But when I say we, the team was good. I was just there in case it kicked off because I was like the scrap. But yeah, but even then, I think about it. I never used to train hard. Never. I remember going to football training and being like, oh, I can't be bothered. Or I remember the first rugby, because I gave up football knowing that I didn't want to do it anymore. Went to play rugby because we'd done it well at school, and I thought, oh, well, maybe I'm good at rugby then. And I got beasted in a rugby session. Didn't get tackled or anything, but like beasted circuit wise. And I remember thinking, oh, fuck, this isn't for me. Do you know what I mean? And then left it for a bit. Just got into like riding my BMX quite a bit, which I was always sort of doing alongside anyway, going out to the skate park and stuff, and probably got a little bit too lazy. And then I found boxing, got into that straight in the deep end, and yeah, just even really up until having my first fight, and that's probably where the realization come from. I got battered in my first fight, absolutely smashed up, and went back to the change rooms after. I remember my dad, Dave Edmonds, and my other coach Dean all being in the change rooms. Obviously, I was a bit upset. All my family who'd just seen me being battered were upset, and I remember my coach Dean said, "Only the strong will survive," and it just something just like I was like, "Yeah, that's true." And Dave Edmonds, who's passed away now, bless him, he said he was like, "This is the make or break of you. Do you know what I mean? You either give up or you get on with it." And my dad like reiterated that and was like, "There, you need to come back now and train properly." And I did, and I come back to win the next 5 all by stoppage. And I think it's just something clicked then. I thought I need to put my all into this. And I think maybe from then I've just always, everything I do, I just try and do with everything I have.
That's
Do you know what I
class,
mean?
mate. Yeah, 100%. I think in life, it's maybe if you never had that failure and you breezed that first
Of
one,
course.
that changed the whole trajectory of your life
Absolutely.
and your mindset towards training, because you know that the threat's there. You know that there's a threat, potential threat, because there was a threat, you got beaten up. So next time, maybe that's took your mind to a different level. So I think we learn so much more from failures than what we do from
100%. And obviously a little bit different now we go into the professional game where it does matter if you start losing. But amateur boxers, if any amateur boxer listen to this or whatever, it's okay to lose because that's where we learn. And that goes for life in general as well. Like say, you learn from when things go wrong and you make adjustments, and then it puts you on that right trajectory. So
100%.
yeah, it was an experience to lose. And that lad, he's a semi-professional footballer now. He's a good kid, but like I beat him, and then he didn't go on to have another fight. He just beat me and then stopped. I don't know if it was just as low.
Maybe
Obviously
yeah.
quite a hard little bastard,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, he didn't go on to box.
Must
And
just
maybe if it
reiterated
was
what I said.
exactly
Then
if
he's
it was the
the
other way
opposite.
around,
Yeah,
maybe I would have maybe won it and thought, oh yeah, I've done that. Tick the box. Don't really fancy being a
start on the
boxer.
fags and
Yeah,
that.
you never
Of
know.
course. Because you'd have been Jack the Lad,
Yeah,
the
I would
women,
have
the
gone back
little
to
women.
school. Would have gone back to school and been like, yeah, I'm hard,
Of
mate.
course, of course.
Whereas said I had to go back with nose
Aye.
out, like, right?
Got smashed up. Yeah, it humbles you.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, maybe like ditch the ego.
And I think then going back into the boxing gym after and being able to get back into training and improve, and that's when I really, because before the first fight, I didn't really run very much. Bearing in mind, I fight at 72.5 kilograms now, and I was 16 when I had that fight, and I fought 75. So I wasn't probably, if I can't picture exactly what my body was like, but I wasn't ripped. I wasn't anything. And I got in with this kid who was pretty big, pretty ripped, and he just battered me. But yeah, then I was like, right, I need to pull my finger out, start running, sort my food out, because again, as a 15, 16-year-old kid, you just eat whatever mum cooks you, really.
Of course.
And then that was when I was like, right, no, mum, I'm not having that. I'm having this. And she's like, okay. And that was when I sort of took control of my own life. And I think that then set me up nicely to join the military, because I was then able to be disciplined and do what I wanted to with regards to discipline and setting myself up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you think were you getting into a lot of fights before you started boxing?
I say a lot. There's probably like 4 or 5 like well-known fights that I had at school. Do you know what I mean? Schools always make it a bit better, doesn't it? But yeah, I was always like getting into trouble at school. I could sit here and say that I'd never really started it. It was always a case of like being bullied or whatever. When I was in year 7, I remember beating up this kid in year 10 because he was bullying me, like taking the piss out of me or whatever. I can't remember the ins and outs of it. And then another time, this kid like threatened to stab my brother or something, and he'd actually got his mother he's in prison now. He got his mum in a headlock with a meat cleaver, and that's like went around the school. Yeah, heavy story. And then yeah, he threatened to stab my brother because my brother got with his missus or something. Bear in mind, they was a few years younger. And actually come to school, and I just give him a bit of a kick in once.
Mate, yeah. You know you're on a path if you're getting your mum in a
Yeah,
headlock with a meat cleaver.
I know. But yeah, like silly. You know what school's like.
Ah, of course,
boys will be
man,
boys. There'll be fights, and it was never like anything really serious.
But obviously, like then with the boxing, it allowed you to channel that, whatever it was, because
absolutely,
do you know, not everyone's getting in scraps at school. Not everyone. The guys who are loving physics and that are not in the playground battering guys. Mate, you know what I mean? Exactly. So it must have been a wee something there, a little flair.
That's definitely it. And I think my friend Charlie Amor, he was a friend who said that, why don't you come on the boxing gym? Because I think he's seen that obviously I could fight, and I'd never done anything like that before. And I was a little bit bigger or whatever, and he was like, look, come down the boxing gym. And I did, and then that's where that journey began, where I was just not really taking it too seriously, but I obviously loved it. And
what's your relationship with your dad like?
Really good, mate, to be honest. Yeah, really good. He had me when he was 20. So growing up, he was always relatively young, especially speaking to sort of like my friends. They all had dads who were a bit older and weren't really interested in not what they were doing, but didn't have similar interests. Do you know what I mean? Whereas my dad still to this day goes raving and like likes music. Do you know what I mean? And likes motorbikes, like cars. He's not like an old bloke. Do you know what I mean? So we've always been close. We've always had a really, really good relationship. And when I then got into boxing, it was nice to see. He was obviously proud of me playing football. He was proud of me when I played rugby for the school and stuff. But I've never felt him be as proud as when I've like done well boxing, and especially now going like turning pro and stuff. And it's class, mate. Seeing how proud I make him. And I sent him obviously it's Father's Day next weekend. I sent him a card actually yesterday, just saying like, there's no one I prefer making as proud as him. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, Oscar and Caitlin come into that now.
Of course.
But the rest of my family love making proud. But like making your dad proud is like,
it's a big deal, isn't it?
Especially as a man now. As a 26-year-old man, I can sit here and be like, I fucking made my dad. And obviously, touch wood, it was a long time off. But when one day like he stacks it, like I can sit there and be like, I made my dad proud. Do you know what I mean? Which is
he was buzzing, mate. I saw him after your fight, and he was like, we did that. And I was like, that's class, mate. I'd be Oscar as well, and I thought, there's the generations, bro. Like you made your dad proud. Oscar was greeting like at this point. He was too tired, but I was like, yes, Oscar was like, no. But ain't that beautiful, mate? Like your dad buzzing, and your son was there. Like,
absolutely. And I said to my wife before that I wanted Oscar there. Granted, it maybe is a little bit more harder work for those there. Not hard work, but he gets tired and stuff. Do you know what I mean? You know how he can be. But just for me, in my head, I know then that my son was at my first fight, and my dad was there, my family was there, my mum was there. Like,
I think a lot of people like shy kids away from stuff. But at the end of the day, you're a boxer.
That's it.
You're a professional fighter,
like,
mate. He's mad.
You see him now, like
shouting on the TV.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because we watched it back the other week and put it up on the big screen, and I was like, Oscar, there's you on a friend Munch. He's on his shoulder. I was like, there you are, look. And he's like, I'm on the TV, Daddy. And it's just cool for him
Yes, of
to
course
have
it
that
is.
experience, you know what I mean? But yeah, back to the original question, it's the best feat. I have a real good relationship with my dad, really
Class,
good. And it's
mate.
always been good.
I think there's always this like intrinsic motivation to make your dad proud in it with
Yeah.
men.
100%.
And it's just like, it's a great feeling if you ever get like a sign of acknowledgement for your dad.
Yeah.
Even me in my 30s,
Yeah.
I'm mid-30s now, and I've got a good relationship with my dad, but I always love to impress him or say, Dad, give him a good news on the phone call, because I think as parents are constantly getting the negatives from us, aren't they?
Of course they are, especially the first stage in life is like you're almost like getting grief off your parents for being naughty or whatever else, and then when you sort of grow up, and yeah, it's nice to get that gratitude back from them, isn't it? But I feel like now I can take how much it means to me, my dad being proud of me, and then when Oscar does make me proud, I'll make sure I tell him like, "Oh, proud of you, mate." Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
So yeah.
So then, have you took that relationship on with Oscar? Do you see a lot of similarities there?
Absolutely, and it's not why I had Oscar young, but I always knew, even before meeting Caitlin, I knew that I wanted to have kids relatively young, just because I wanted that similar sort of relationship that I do with my mum and my dad. And yeah, Oscar's my best little pal.
He's a class wee boy, mate.
Too, so.
Yeah, he's a class wee boy, man. You're raising him well, and that's what it's all about. And it's just about setting an example for the kids, mate. And you're doing a good job there, bro.
I appreciate
You're doing
that,
a
mate.
good job, mate. So can we talk about the next fight, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's 27th of April. 27th of July, sorry. 27th of July. Yeah, York Hall down in London, Bethnal Green, which is exciting. I'm just waiting for details from the promoter and posters and stuff to get it announced fully. So yeah, that's what we're pushing towards.
2-0.
That's the plan.
100%.
Straight up to a 6-rounder as well now. So I did obviously that last one was 4 rounds.
Yeah.
Straight up to a 6-rounder. So yeah, and then
how common is that you jump up to 6 in your second?
Not really common, really. Like, it's funny. I was looking on BoxRec the other day, and I won't name drop, but there's lads that have had like 14-0, and they're like still on 4-rounders. Granted, it all comes into a little bit of politics, a little bit of money and stuff, because the more rounds, obviously, as we know, at the start of your professional career, you box journeyman. So, say for example, Anthony Joshua, his first 10 fights ish, they're not really going to be against someone who's going to beat Anthony Joshua. You're in with someone who gets in there to try, but they know really that Joshua's going to beat him. That would be the same case for me. But at the start, those journeymen, it's on the B side, so you just pay them X amount of money for doing it. As you go up the rounds, obviously you've got to pay more money because they're in there for longer, they're working for longer, so you pay them more money. So for example, that guy who was 14-0 and only just gone up to 6-rounders, maybe it might be because he's not selling enough tickets, so he's not making enough money to pay them X amount and then take some money home himself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course.
So for me, quite lucky, I say lucky, I've done quite well ticket-wise on that first fight, so I made a little bit of money, and then this next one, I just have to try and sell the same amount of tickets, if not more, to then cover the costs and then obviously take some money myself.
That's apparently, I don't know much about professional, mate, but it's a case of, it does all boil down the first 10 fights, say how much you are going to market your own fights, right?
Of course, mate, yeah. So different, at the minute I'm just on ticket deals, so I'll just always take a percentage of, normally how it works, that last one, X amount, so I sold about 150 tickets. So from that I had about, let's say, I think it's just over 10 grand. So 10 grand that I collected. From there, the promoter takes 50%. I take
How much?
50%.
Is it?
Yeah. So, sorry, that's wrong. You pay the opponent, which my opponent was like £2,250 there or thereabouts.
Is that what he got for turning up?
So he got that.
Wow.
That covers his flight because he lived over in Ireland. So his flight from Ireland, his foreign boxer fee, his hotel, and then his fight purse was about 1,700 there or thereabouts, which is still
not bad for one night, isn't it? One night's graft,
isn't it? From there, the money left of that, me and the promoter split. So he gets, I think it was like 4 whatever. I got 4 whatever. From there, out of that, I pay my promoter 15%. I don't have to pay my management team yet because they're unbelievable and they don't take any money until I hit an 8-rounder. But normally,
Wow.
a
Is that
management,
what it is?
yeah,
Wow.
normally a management team would then take 20% on top of that, or they can take up to 25%. So let's say 25%. So that's then 40% of your 50% that you've actually got left. Then on top of that, normally you would pay your cut man and your hand wrappers, normally the same person, obviously, but mine is Jamie, who is Empire, who does that, obviously part of being my manager.
Wow.
So yeah, it's expensive, and you think at the bottom of the boxing scale, that's why there's not much money in it, because by the time you've paid everyone, you're lucky to have £1,000 really. I was lucky I walked away with about £3,000, which is a good
mate.
chunk of money,
Good for
really,
one night.
considering I've had 50 odd fights with making nothing.
Good for one night's work,
yeah.
mate. But
So
a lot of graft though.
A lot of
Energy
graft,
going into selling the tickets.
I feel like that. It's not just the 2 months before the fight. I've built that up over the last 6 months ish, thereabouts. And social media is obviously an important side of it, building up from there. But yeah, I've just got to keep the ball rolling now, and hopefully the same people keep coming, and I can just sort of build on it from there.
Of course, man. And as soon as the level of the shows increase, purses increase.
Of course, that's it. And eventually, the aim is to get onto what's called a promotion deal. So then with Matchroom, Queensberry, Boxer, etc., they'll do it as a promotion deal. So you might say, okay, Brad, we want you to box for us for a year on a 4-fight deal for, I don't know, let's just say 50 grand. So then they'll give you 50 grand. Obviously, I still sell tickets, people still come, but I haven't got to worry about how many tickets pay my opponent, blah, blah, blah. It'll just be a case of, there's your money, there are your dates, pick 4, pick 5, be done with it. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
That's the goal, because ultimately then you haven't got to stress so much. And obviously above that, when you get to boxing for titles and stuff, like Fury and that sort of silly money, but you've obviously got to be a very big name for that.
And you've still got a full-time job?
Yeah, so still serving in the Royal Air Force at the Fire Service College at the minute. An instructor there, which I'm loving my job. I started there in September on my move back to Cyprus, so sort of starting that new job as an instructor whilst turning professional has been pretty hectic, but yeah, I'm loving it. I'm really enjoying it.
And you're a husband to Kate. You got Kate Oscar. So off the back of this conversation, we've been chatting for about half an hour, right?
Yeah.
You're serving in the military. You've got a wife. You've got a kid. You're a professional boxer. You've got a lot going on, bro.
Yeah, it's busy, mate. And sometimes I drive a lot to and from training, to work, blah blah blah, all over the country, back down to Yeovil. When I'm driving, sometimes I deep it, and I'm like, God, I'm actually busy. Like, I actually do so much. And but that's when I don't. And Caitlin will always say this as well. Like, if I don't have anything to do, it drives me insane. And that's probably a little bit built into me through the military and through boxing and being busy. But like, let's say a day where let's say a rest day where I then don't have anything to do around the house. I'll like clean the car, or because I just hate not doing anything.
So obviously you've got a lot going on. So from a let's say a mental health perspective, are you doing anything to keep yourself in check? What practices do you do?
So prior to that fight, they got in touch with me. Al Pepper, he's a mindset coach, and he helps a lot with sort of mindset and negative thoughts and whatever prior to. So his actual job role, he does that, but in the RAF for fighter pilots. And he approached me about doing this boxing camp with me. Now he's sort of come onto the team, and he's not charging me, and it's incredible doing that.
Amazing.
But with regards to actually, like you say, just keeping myself in check, I think the only thing I know that I consciously do is my ice baths and my running. I know that those two things, if I'm feeling a bit shit, and let's say even on a rest day, if I feel a bit whatever, I'll just take Rusty out for a little run, especially living where we live now, out in the Cotswolds, out for a run. And it just makes me feel, I come back, have a shower, and I'm invincible.
Yeah.
I just feel, have an ice bath, whatever, jump out, then have a shower. And I'm just like, well, what was I? Not that I ever really feel down, but if I feel a bit hectic or whatever, I do that, and then I'd feel so much more de-stressed. And I can't like push anyone to, if they're going to do anything, just exercise. If you feel shit, exercise for half an hour, and then tell me you still feel shit, and then we'll
Yeah,
talk. Do you know what I mean?
changes the game,
yeah,
yeah.
it does. Yeah.
But it's actually Tom, the mindset coach on the wing, he does a fantastic lesson on it, right? It's in his live Zoom, and he talks about, so maybe take away the cold water out of the equation, right? See, if you look at it from just the breathing standpoint, the nice, slow and controlled breaths, it actually sends signals up to your brain to say that you're relaxed.
Listen, you're doing that when you're running, sort of thing.
No,
Or
no,
just
in the ice bath. I'm putting it back to the ice bath.
Yeah, sorry.
So say we're in a situation where we're under threat, right? We can never get rid of that fight or flight response within our body. So if you feel under threat, you're going to start to breathe quicker and start to hyperventilate, and it sends signals to your brain that you're in danger ultimately. But then when you take the big, slow, deep breaths and you breathe out, it almost tricks your flight or flight response, because it says everything's good, because you're in the opportunity right now to take these deep breaths and relax. So a saber-toothed tiger is not going to come and bite you. You see what I mean?
Chill.
Yeah. So the ice bath's massive, and the
class.
cold water's brilliant as well, and I think
it
that's
is,
fantastic, mate.
It's a game changer,
mindset.
and I know sort of everyone went through a bit of a phase of it at the end of last year, didn't they? Where everyone was doing it. And it's class. And I love that. I love it when people jumping on sort of phase like that. But yeah, I've still got my setup now, and it's
doing it every day is a different story. Though,
I don't do it every day, to be honest. Like, I'll mostly do it after my runs or when I get back from training, and I'm like, oh yeah, jump in the ice bath. But at least 3 a week I'll do.
Big question, this, right? I think between males, between anybody in society, there's a stigma against wanting to be successful. Yeah, we almost feel embarrassed to say where we want to be in life through fear of judgment from others. So completely stripping away our ego or our interpretation of other people's opinions. What's the goal, mate? How far do you want to take this?
So when I strip it back, I've always had in my head that I will be successful no matter what I choose to do. I know it sounds big-headed, but like you say, stripping that back, I've always known that I'll be successful. I always knew that I will be a name. Yeah, I don't want to sit here and say that I'm going to be a world champion, because I don't think that will be the case. And I know that not that I know that. If I get the right shots, absolutely, potentially could be there. But I know for a fact that I'll fight for an English title. I know for a fact I have what it takes to win an English title, to win a British title. So that's the goal. That's the goal. I'll win an area title, get on to win an English title, box for a British. That's the goal.
Amazing. Amazing. And it's ditching that. And I think there's this stigma against saying, I want to be successful, or I want to be, and I think it almost caps people from chasing their dreams, because even you're wanted to naturally say, I don't want to sound big-headed, but it's not, mate. It's not. Like, as men, we need to ditch that. And if you say, right, Johnny, I'm going to win this British title, I'm going to be a name, I'm going to be successful,
I'm going to start my own podcast.
I support you, bro. And you're the same. I've said this for ages. We do a podcast together. We have, mate. It's manifest. So I think that's such an important thing, bro. The power of your mindset.
Absolutely.
If you can say something with conviction and you believe it, that's what's going to happen, bro. There's no other way, mate. So it's like, whether you do compete for a British title, or whether you are a huge name in something else, you know you're going to get there. You know what the end goal is, innit? So what about from a business perspective? You got any thoughts about
that? I think when I look long term, obviously still in the military, depending on how quickly I get to that English and British level title, I'm still going to stay in the RF. By the time I leave or have done my 20 years in the RF, I'll be 38, which is still no age at all to have a full military pension behind me, and probably by that age I've given up boxing myself. But then with all that behind me, I'd love to open up my own gym one day, back in my hometown, my own gym. Would be wicked.
That's class, mate. You're close to a guy who done it in Yeovil.
Yeah, so Yeovil ABC, obviously where I started boxing and stuff. That was like a original boxing gym, and it's still a good gym back there. But I'd love to go up and set my own up. Do you know what I mean?
I know, but there was a guy specifically, was there not? A coach or someone, he passed away.
Dave Edmund, yeah. So
Aye.
it was actually Dean Trott, who is my original boxing coach. His uncle, it was him that opened the gym, and then Dave Edmonds was obviously, they worked together to coach and stuff, and that was obviously from years and years ago. So yeah, it's
You could slot in as the next
yeah,
guy,
you never know.
but by
Yeah.
picking up the area, because I think it's so important for kids, mate, to
Yeah,
be in a discipline.
absolutely.
Even if it is boxing or
Yeah.
even if it's jiu-jitsu, just to be in a discipline.
And I think the way, when I picture where I'm gonna be, and then how I could sell that after that, it will get the people in, I think.
100%,
Yeah.
mate. Yeah, you've done, even your amateur
Yeah.
record could do that.
Of course.
Let
yeah.
alone when you establish yourself
Yeah.
as a professional boxer, then off the back of that, you got your gym and that.
But even just like PTs and stuff, and just putting across my mindset to people and my sort of look on life of how to stay consistent and whatever, and discipline and everything we spoke about. Do you know what I mean? I'll put that across onto people, and I think that would work well. So
biggest motivator, truthfully.
my biggest motivator, making my family proud. Oscar, Caitlin, my dad, my mum. Just, I've said it obviously when we did our quit wellness chat. I said it there, like what motivates you, and that is it. Like the feeling of just everyone being proud of me. Like I love it. There's no better feeling. I stood there in that ring, getting my hand raised, and everyone's there screaming. It's just, there's no
Love
feeling
that.
like it. Yeah, and that is the feeling that I chase.
Yeah.
Because no feeling is better.
Endorphins.
It's nothing like it.
Talk to me. What did it feel like?
Just gives you this rush of excitement and like nervousness, but like in a good nerve. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As you know, before you walk out to a boxing fight, obviously when we did it together, I was in your corner,
Yeah.
warming you up on the pads and stuff, and you're feeling good. You still get that like, it's a nerve, but it's nice when you look back on it, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's an addictive thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and then just after getting your hand raised, it's just,
it's a good feeling.
and on that scale as well, when I know I've built on it for that long and put that much into it, and the pinnacle of it being my professional debut, which is absolutely massive.
I was going to say amateur feels nice. I couldn't imagine what it was like,
And
seeing everybody there and the walkout, the fireworks. Mate, it was incredible.
And with that mindset coach, I talk to him a lot about like visualization, manifestation and stuff. And even prior to working with him, I'd visualize that ring walk 15, 20 times a day. So I knew what it was going to be like. I knew what song I was going to have. I knew how I was going to stand back to the crowd, let it build up, and then turn. I had that in my head. So when it happened exactly how I'd envisioned it, it felt so normal. I felt like I was destined to be there. And that's why we talk about manifestation stuff. Now you sat here now, you're just like, oh, this is what I've been planning on doing for years. So it's all good. Like you just feel okay with it. And you don't feel nervous. You don't feel weirded out by it because you visualize it for so long. And that manifestation happened in your head.
Yeah. Because that's one thing I noticed, bro, because obviously I boxed with you and the nerves can take over sometimes, and it's like, not saying they did with you, but they can be overwhelming.
Absolutely.
But you looked so natural.
I was like, so calm. I expected me to be like, oh.
Yeah, I was like, I thought I'd see it in your face because I know you. You're my mate, so it's like I thought I'd see it.
You watch the video back and you see me getting the ring, I'm
just
like
flawless, bro. Yeah, you just like
that
sound, mate.
Just tried to love it, and that was one thing I was massive on, is I didn't want, because when that nerves kick in and you're in that fight or flight situation, obviously your body just gets pumped with adrenaline, and that blocks receptors out to your brain. So sometimes when that happens, you almost don't remember it because that's your body's defense mechanism. Whereas I did not want that to happen. You only get one debut. Yeah, I'll fight again, maybe on the same show, maybe in the same venue with the same people there or thereabouts. But you only get one debut, and I wanted to do that down to a T so that I could remember every single bit of it. And there was the bit there where my opponent had walked out, he'd doing all this crazy stuff as he was doing, and I went up, stood on the stage, and I was obviously had my back to you, and I felt, as I feel now, probably have felt more nervous now speaking on it than I did. I felt just completely
Yeah, you
chilled,
were so chilled, man.
and it was incredible because I
Yeah.
can remember exactly how I felt for every single. Even walking out, I was just like,
Yeah,
was
man, I
loving it.
loved it, bro.
Yeah.
For the energy in the
Yeah.
room, bro. Like everybody was just like, I was getting a wee bit emotional, bro. I was like,
But even
sitting-
for you, I can imagine.
yeah,
like,
mate.
like
it's like,
it's been a journey, innit? Training
yeah,
together and that.
everything, man. Like everyone
Obviously,
we've been
went to
through.
London, didn't we?
Yeah,
And box airs
yeah,
together,
yeah.
and like, yeah, it's class.
Yeah, I was in your corner
You were,
once. You were
yeah.
in mine, mate. I was like, oh, man, I was so proud, bro. I was like,
Yeah.
I've got goosebumps now thinking
Yeah.
about it, mate, because it was class, and it was like, this. I knew this is you.
Yeah.
This is what you want. This was Brad
what I'm
Axe,
about.
mate. Yeah, the Axe man and
Yeah.
the fireworks. I was like, yes, come
Yeah.
on. But I never realised how big a show it was going to be.
It was massive.
I
wasn't
thought
it?
I was coming in. I had a wee note for you. I thought I was
Yeah.
like, thought I'd be able to just come in
Yeah,
and see you in the
yeah,
changing
in the
room,
changing
like,
room.
I have a good
Nah,
box.
you ain't got a VIP
And he was
pass,
like,
but-
nah, who the fuck are you? I was like, oh, come on, I'm his best mate. No, I never said that because I got there and I was like,
that logo
This
on
is
his
a
back,
big-
mate, that's me.
yeah, I was like, this is a big show, mate. Security and everything. I was like, fucking hell.
This
like,
next one, it's not quite as big as a promotion, but obviously York Hall is quite prestigious in the boxing.
Aye.
It's like the home of British boxing.
Big one,
And
mate.
it's cool. The venue's like all the seating and stuff's like looking right down on the ring and that. So there's not
Oh,
a
is
bad
it,
seat
like,
in
round?
the house. Yeah, it's wicked.
Oh, class.
But
Because
yeah,
even that was a big hall before, mate.
it was. Yeah,
that
it
was a big hall,
Yeah, it
mate.
was.
Like I say, man, that was, and bro, I reckon about 40% at least of this stage was there for you.
Well,
And
I'd
the
say
seats.
I sold like 150 tickets there or thereabouts, and there was only like 700 tickets sold. Obviously, people might have bought tickets on the night, but when you think about that as a percentage-wise, considering there was, I think,
That's a whack, mate.
8 other fights,
Yeah, loads of boxers.
and some
there.
of which were 50-50. So
That's
both
like
sides of
16
crowd.
boxers.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Lot,
mate.
innit?
You because
Yeah.
you were the loudest, mate, and then you were on second from the end as
Yeah,
well, weren't you?
yeah.
Phenomenal night, mate.
Yeah.
Absolutely class, man. Like I say, man. So 27th of April.
Yeah, 27th
That's the
July.
next one. 27th. I said that.
Yeah, I know.
You said that. 27th of July. I'm going to try and get back from Cyprus for
Yeah,
it, bro.
that'd be wicked,
100%. Because we'll just be there, but I want to fly back because I can just fly from Paphos straight to London.
Yeah, that'd be
Calm,
wicked. I'll get you
support.
from you.
And I
hotel.
wouldn't
Get
expect
from
you
the
to
airport.
come, mate. Aye, just
Right,
before
mate.
your fight.
Yeah,
Alright,
wrapped
boy.
up.
Probably be good though for
Yeah,
the
it would.
distraction,
Yeah, it
mate.
would.
But I know I will get that sorted, man. Right, talk to me about. I want to know what your best piece of advice is from a professional athlete standpoint. If there's any men out there who are lacking direction, they don't feel necessarily like they're getting the best out of their life. Yeah, what's your best piece of advice from a professional athlete?
For me, sort the 5 things out in your life first. I say sort out. That's obviously quite brutal, but are you sleeping enough? Yeah. If you're not getting enough sleep and you're going to be behind straight away. If you're not eating healthy, you're not drinking enough water, okay, you're not happy with your job, then any of those things are going to have an effect on your life, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? From there, you need to have something. Mine was obviously boxing. It took me a little while to find it, but you need to find that something else. You need something else, whether it be the gym, running, or it doesn't even have to be a sport. It could be playing chess for all that matters. But you need something that's separate to going to work, doing your 9 to 5, coming back, sitting on your phone, eating shit food. You need to be finding that something else, something that gives you that, releases that dopamine, getting that bit of a dopamine hit of actually this is what I want to do. And yeah, there may possibly men out there that are still searching, and there's nothing wrong with that. People think, oh, I'm 35 now, I don't have anything that I do. I was like, well, go out and find it then. Do you know what I mean? It's a shame when people have spare time but don't use it effectively to go out and find what their thing is.
Go and try different stuff.
Yeah, I know. We said obviously you said earlier, like I found boxing maybe a little bit later than what other people did, but 15 I was still quite lucky to find it at boxing.
Of course.
Like whereas I don't know, play the guitar, like do anything, find something to give you that little bit of a hit where you learn that certain song, you're like, oh, I've done that.
Yeah.
And it's important to hit little goals, I think, and that's why boxing works for me, because I like having a date in my head. I put a thing on the wing the other day, didn't I, about having a date. What motivates you? What keeps you going? Well, that could be anything. doesn't have to be a
Huge,
date for a
mate.
fight, which is a big thing, yeah, but it could be anything.
Yeah.
If you're struggling for something, just find what your something is and then push towards making that better. But also at the same time, as well as that, these things have got to be right as well, haven't they?
100%.
You've got to be eating correctly.
Yeah.
You've got to be
100%.
sleeping correctly. You've got to be surrounding yourself with the right people, which is, again, if you're not surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded, then you're going to be, well, not off to a great start here.
No, that's what I mean. Sleep,
Yeah.
nutrition. You have to be getting everything right first, and then, like I say, that then gives you the motivation, the energy to perhaps go and find that thing that you're
Massively.
talking about. Because as men, we need purpose, mate. Yeah. You need a purpose. Like yours is obviously Oscar, Kate, your family, now boxing as well. Yeah. So you've not got time to dwell.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like
you time to think about it.
That's what I'm saying, bro. You're too busy.
Training.
Yeah, too busy to be starting to think, what that, like, because that's what I think boredom leads to that, doesn't it? Boredom leads to that lack of purpose, and the lack of purpose leads to boredom, and then it's just one big vicious cycle.
People sometimes are so quickly to come up with excuse. Oh yeah, but work was hard today, and I'm going for a drink or whatever. Like, okay, well,
I know, mate.
That's not finding your purpose, is it?
Nah, and it's only going to just have a negative effect. I mean, I feel a hell of a difference if I don't do it often, by the way. No, I've managed to get in really good routine in the mornings and stuff. I tend to not go on my phone. I'll go a walk, take Murphy out first every day. The dog gets walked. Come back, switch on my phone. See where I'm at. But if I go on that phone in the morning, my whole day changes. My mindset changes for the whole day in a negative way. Because obviously there's science backing it. You know, the phone releases the dopamine. Yeah. So first thing in the morning, you're shooting your dopamine up,
and then your body's like, "Oh well, don't need to do anything else."
And then you've got your hit, you've got your dopamine. You come back, say then you go walk the dog. You come back, your dopamine's so high from the walk, from the phone, and then it crashes. Yeah. I feel a wee bit weird today. No wonder, because you're sitting on TikTok with you. Women dancing in bikinis and that. Not that that's my For You page.
No, mine neither.
I actually used to be, mate. My whole For You page was just mad stuff.
Guys lifting weights.
That's it. Men, nutrition, that's it. But it's mad, isn't it? Algorithms on social media. I bet yours is just boxing, promotion,
boxing, and that's it, really. Class, but I think like you say there, if you can find that routine, find a purpose, it's just going to make everything better.
100%, mate. So how many times you training a week through getting you ready to this camp?
So I'm starting an 8-week camp now. This first week is almost just like a introduction to it a little bit. Again, training it once a day, every day. Some hard sparring towards the end of the week. And then going into the next week, it'll be twice a day, and it's just twice a day consistently then. Obviously, if I was a full-time athlete not working, it'd probably be 3. Shortening down the session size, whereas now it'll be like a run or sprints or strength in the morning and then boxing in the evening, or I might swap it up and do like boxing in the morning, like a run in the evening, or so
class. And that's, like you say, the main thing is that's all written down.
Of course, mate. It's all perfect. And in my head, I know it sounds silly, but like in my head it's there. That's what I'm doing, and it all tallies up. And I do test runs as well, so obviously, I can judge it from my spars as well, but realistically, I'll spar better opponents each week, so things are getting harder and more difficult. But my coach does a thing, it's like, what's important now? So it's all well and good being like, when I spar, for example, when I sparred last week, I'm out of camp. What's important now? Well, nothing really. So let's focus on, we haven't got anything to focus on, so let's just enjoy it. Like, just focus. There's no pressure on it then. Do you know what I mean? So I was able to actually relax, and I had a really good spar, and I was buzzing to have a good spar, not in camp, if that makes sense. And then, so now when we go into sparring this week, it'd be like, okay, well, last week let's pick 3 things we want to improve on, work on those 3 things, and each spar I can focus on those 3 things to improve on.
I think it's like what we said before, that purpose. You've got that purpose now. Yeah. You understand exactly what's going on with your training. Yeah. So having that like lack of purpose, even when it comes to a training standpoint or in the gym, If you just walk in the gym and you don't have a
Yeah.
plan,
Just come and just batter Ricardo.
you're not. He's in the wings. I'm gonna get him to listen. Just tune up, little Rick. Like,
Yeah, walk out and go, yeah, sound, cheers for that, lads, all the best. But like,
aye,
again, what are you getting from that?
of course.
Nothing. Whereas, I don't know, I go in, I might even do a well spun, I might get my ass kicked. But if those 3 things I've worked on, let's say keep my lead hand up a little bit, countering off the roll, and put my weight on the back foot, if I've done those 3 things, well, I've had a good spar then. Even if I've got my ass kicked against someone who's like British level, like it doesn't really matter as long as what's important now. Well, those 3 things we've done then, so that's what's good.
Some young kid wants to get into boxing. What's your best piece of advice once to start?
My best piece of advice would be get in touch. Just go onto Google, go on England Boxing, put in your postcode wherever you live, and it will generate obviously the closest local England Boxing gyms to you. My advice would be to go into an England Boxing gym, just because all the coaches are fully obviously got their qualifications, all DBS checked, safeguarded, and it's all like proper officials. The National Boxing governing body. So
I never realised that was the system, and then that takes you. So that's great.
So then go to obviously your local gym, and just put everything into it. But not even that. Just give it a go. It might not be for you. It might be, and even if you just do it from a fitness standpoint, like everyone loves the gym at the minute, don't they? Like going to the gym, and it's a good fitness craze. I'm glad that everyone's in this fitness sort of phase, as I'm sure you are too. It's good to see that everyone's getting involved. But like, if you can get into boxing, even if you just go once a week, you don't have to want to be a world champion. Just go once a week. You probably learn a little bit of self-defense. You get a bit fitter, and you're out doing something. And that might be your purpose down the line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just get involved, man.
Yeah,
that's
get
right. Just
involved.
start.
You don't have to sit there and be like, oh, I want to be the next Anthony Joshua. I want to be the next Canelo Alvarez.
What about for the people who are nervous to go to the gym? Because that's a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
People even like me when I was going to a new boxing gym, still nervous, isn't it?
Even me, sat here now as a 1-0 pro, going to a different gym, sparring, still gives you those little bits of a butterfly. Of course it does.
Because then obviously you've got your ego attached to it as
Yeah,
well.
a little bit.
You don't want to get tuned, because it could be a young amateur who's class and
Exactly.
he tunes you up a wee bit. And
well, I spar a lad from Oxford, Jamal. He's class and he's like an amateur kid and he's good, but he's only just a senior. And he gives me a kick in sometimes. Like, he's a good kid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's the same thing. Like, I'm 1-0 as a pro going in there, like, oh yeah, 1-0 as a pro. And he's just like ding ding ding. Like, he's good. You know what I mean? But that, for me, if you are a little bit nervous going to the club, I guarantee you everyone else in that gym felt exactly the same the first time they walk into the gym. And it's just about like, I guarantee everyone in there is nicer than everyone else out of the gym. Boxing gym is one of the nicest places you could ever be. Like, everyone in there is so respectful. People from different ways of life as well. You might have really rich people in there, really poor people, like people from all different ethnicities. Like, it's class. It's a really good place to be. And I feel like as a boxing gym vibe, it's a really nice vibe and an environment in a boxing gym. It's not like, you go to, let's say, a pure gym, and you almost like the ego show.
Yeah, it's mad.
There's no egos in a boxing gym really, because everyone's in there. Everyone's doing the same thing. Like, you could have a women's fitness class over there, 2 world champions sparring over there, and everyone just loves each other. It's just like good vibes, you know what I mean?
100%.
If you have any bad vibes, get in the ring, have a spar.
Yeah, exactly. Sort it out.
There's no like looking at each other whilst you're deadlifting.
Yeah, sizing each other up.
He's not doing that properly, or do you know what I mean? The ego that's in the gym there's none of that in the boxing gym. I think people from the outside planning on going to the boxing gym don't realise that there isn't any of that in a boxing gym. They're like, oh, boxing gym, I'm scared. They're going to think I'm the worst. Like, not at all. It's not.
There's 10 times more egos in a commercial gym
100%.
than what there is in a.
I'd say 100 times more.
Yeah, I'm with you, mate. I'm with you. I've seen some like proper inflated egos, and in the gym you never get them. Don't get me wrong, I've seen a couple.
And
like
you might get
a Swindon
a
gym
brand new kid come in with his Nike Hyper KOs on, his fucking Clayton Reyes gloves, brand new. Like, oh yeah. But even then, you're just like, that's class, man.
Yeah, he's there.
He's there. He's doing it.
Yeah. That's the thing. You just have to rip the plaster off and just go put yourself out there, innit? That's mad. So, Brad, mate, that's been a good, enlightening podcast. some good nuggets for people wanting to go on a fitness journey, especially in regards to boxing. So to wrap this up, bro, I want you, for the next guest to come on the wing, I want you to give them your best piece of advice in life in general.
In life in general. Fucking hell, I don't know. Find your purpose and hit it with everything you've got.
Incredible, mate. That's really good. Mate, thank you so much for coming.
No, thank
The
you for
Wing
having me.
on Air 001. And I want you back on the 50th podcast. Deal?
Deal.
Oh, man.
See you on the
so much,
50th.
brother.
Nice one. Thank you for having me on,
much.
mate.